The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at theeppodcast.com.
And welcome into the EP Podcast. My name is Chris Lanuti. Hannah Beth joining me as well. We have guests on today in studio and out of the studio. We're going mobile. That is ahead, and it's all brought to you by the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. Just told a great story about them, actually kind of expounded, got a little bit more detailed as to why I had moved my accounts over to them recently and how good I feel doing it. I actually talked about it on one of the brand new podcasts from the Broadcast Basement On Demand Radio Network, and that is Southside Pod. 30 minutes of good for all of the South Side outside of Evergreen Park. Check it out when you get a chance. Everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at southsidepod.com. But what I was talking about essentially in that segment is how good I feel when I walk into that bank at 95th and Pulaski. They know me, and if they don't know me, they pretend. At least they're trying. Like, everybody's waving, they're smiling. At least I feel like they're smiling behind their mask. You're in, you're out, there's no long lines. I'm not sitting there trying to make an appointment online for every single thing that I need to do. I use their mobile banking. When I have a problem, they're 2 seconds away. I can shoot an email off to my banker. I can make a phone call. They're readily available to help you out. That's the advantage of a local bank. And they deliver under pressure. When the pandemic hit, local businesses needed help securing Paycheck Protection Program loans, and 13 local businesses got more than $3 million in loans with the help of the First National Bank of Evergreen Park that saved more than 200 local jobs. Find out what they can do for you. Visit today, bankevergreenpark.com/4U, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Joining me on the phone line right now, it is busy over at the Evergreen Park Public Library. We've got so many things going on. It's the perfect time of the year to check back in with our good friends over there because summer is about to begin. Jenna Harte-Wisniewski on the line with me. Jenna, last time we spoke, you were over here, but it's busy over there right now, correct? You guys have big plans for the summer?
Yeah, it's the last 2 weeks before summer reading. So, of course, I can't get away from the library because we have so much to do before summer reading starts.
When I was a kid, I used to go up to the Chicago Public Library, and they would try to incentivize kids into reading. So the idea was like, every time you read a book or every time you check out a book, and then you'd show back up, and then they would put like your name on something. They have a little chart, and you would get like a prize after so many books. Is that something like what you guys do, or do you have a different kind of program?
Yeah, so we do have a summer reading program every single summer. Last summer was a little bit different because we were closed for most of the summer. And now that we're open again, we can actually have some fun. It's funny. I had kind of an opposite experience growing up. I grew up in Evergreen, and I did spend time at the Evergreen Park Public Library. But the thing is, I don't remember summer reading programs. But we make it so much fun for everybody. And this year, our summer reading theme is Reading Colors Your World. And it starts June 1st and runs through July 31st. And it's for all ages. So parents, grandparents, kids, babies can all sign up for the same program, and we have different kinds of reading incentives for everybody. So for every 200 minutes that you read this summer, you can read, be read to, you can read to somebody, doesn't matter. It all counts. You'll get some kind of little prize. Kids can spin the prize wheel, and adults will be able to choose a charity that Library Foundation funds will get donated to at the end of the summer. So we've got tons of stuff going on. And Chris, can I take this full hour to talk about all the library stuff that we have going on?
Because I keep thinking to myself, like, it must be so different now. I mean, last summer, you couldn't do anything.
No.
And now this summer, it's like you got like a billion things. You've got that bike that you're riding around on, delivering books.
Mary, our teen librarian, did get out a couple of weeks ago into Circle Park, and she gave away kites, which was really exciting. We had a good turnout for that one.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we're hoping that the weather kind of picks up a little bit. It's nice and warm today, but unfortunately I'm not getting out there. But we do have a lot of plans for the trike this summer, and I know our children's staff is going to be getting out into our beautiful parks this summer to do some story time. So we'll have stories in the park. We have a lot of team stuff coming up. One of the really cool programs we have coming up is a father-son courtside book talk to discuss the book The Crossover by Kwame Alexander. So that one's going to happen on June 16th at 7 p.m. at the Oak Lawn High School Gymnasium. But we've got some free books, free copies of the book at the LRC at Evergreen High School. Oak Lawn High School's Media Center has some. We've got free books at the Central Middle School Library. So you can pick one up while supplies last and read that in anticipation of the book talk on June 16th.
I was going to ask you, what's it like over there right now? Because I've noticed when I go out with my wife, we'll get in the car and she'll be like, where do you want to go? And I'm picking places for to where I eat, you know, where we go and get a beer, where we go and do our entertainment based upon whether or not I know already what I'm getting into when I get there. Because there are some places that are right along the CDC guidelines now. You walk in, you barely see a mask when you walk into them. And I've been in Evergreen Park and outside of them. And then I've seen the entire spectrum all the way back to it still feels like it's December. Where is the library at right now, hours-wise, and what people can expect when they walk in?
Yeah, so where do we stand? We are not forcing masks. We do encourage mask wearing. We do ask you to wear a mask inside of our computer lab just because it's an enclosed space. We don't have a lot of ventilation in there. But inside of the library, all of the staff are pretty much still wearing masks, so we still encourage it. But the exciting thing is that we are expanding our hours. Right now, it's a little bit slow because this is our slow time. We don't have a ton of programming. We're kind of taking a little bit of a chill break before we pick up for summer, but we're just getting the library decorated and making our final plans for everything. But the exciting thing is that, we're expanding our hours starting on June 1st. So we're kind of going back to our regular summer hours, which are 9 to 9, Monday through Thursday. And Friday and Saturday, 9 to 5, and closed on Sundays, which will probably change in the fall.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that you guys are doing the extended hours. Kids need things to do in the summer. I throw my kids out of the house, but sometimes I don't know what they do. I think they just go around the block, sit down, and go, well, he won't let me back in, so I got to go find something. So at least I know they also have the library available to them this summer. Any other big programs you want to make sure that you tell us about?
Sure. So we do have a yarn bombing for adults, actually all ages. If you crochet or knit, you can meet at the library on June 12th from 9 a.m. till 3 p.m. Just come by at any time during those hours and make sure that you crochet or knit some squares or like swatches in advance. And then you get to tie them to our trees for a public art installation. So that's really exciting. We're going to bring some color to the library this summer.
Everybody always kind of assumes that all the library is books and some computer access. Now, you guys really come up with like a bunch of really neat things to do, and you involve everybody too. Yeah,
we have amazing staff, so we're really lucky. And now that we've got 10 more hours a week to do it all, it's a lot more exciting. And not only in virtual anymore. Another exciting thing happening this summer is that we're bringing back in-person programming. It might be a little bit limited, but we kind of came up with a fun way to do this. We're buying a big tent. So picture like a big circus tent. And that was provided by our library foundation. They're the ones that purchased it. So we're going to put it in our staff parking lot in the back of the library. And that will allow us to do some socially distanced and safe in-person programming.
And fortunately for her, you guys are going to see the retirement of a longtime guest here on the EP podcast, Nikki Seidel, who has been a big supporter of this show, and we've had her on a bunch of times. And she's been running the library for a while, and now she is retiring, from what I understand, right?
Yes, a very sad time at the library, but also an exciting time. Nikki has been at the Evergreen Park Public Library as director for 20 years, a little over 20 years. So her time, she deserves this, man. So she's retiring at the very end of June, and we have already done the search and hired a new director. So Frank Murray is going to be taking over as director, I believe, maybe a week or so before Nikki leaves. So we'll have a new face and a new face of the library starting in June.
Let's close this out. Give me one more thing that people should check out with the library. Remember, you can go on the library website. Evergreen Park Library's got a great website, evergreenparklibrary.org, and they list not only everything that Jenna's talking about, but everything else that she might not be able to get to because it is only a 30-minute podcast. But give me one more thing that you're like super excited about over there that people need to mark on their calendars.
One more exciting thing I'll mention for the teens, because the teens always need something to happen. We've got a Teen Read with Pride program on June 30th. So author James Cleese, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, he's going to be visiting us on June 30th to talk about his book, Love Drugged, which you can pick up at the library. So we are going to be meeting with him. So teens, adults, come on by, and that's another really exciting thing for Pride Month in June.
And let's just say this, it's not hard to get a book there, right? Like, I always hear people say, well, I go over there, but I don't have a library card. Like, I mean, how easy is it really for somebody who walks in who's never been there before to come in and start participating in things at the library and grabbing a book?
Oh my God, you don't even have to have a library card to participate. If you want to grab a book, you do have to have a library card. You do have to live in Evergreen Park to get an Evergreen Park Public Library card. But if you live in Chicago and you have a Chicago Public Library card, that's all you need to. You just link it up with us and you can check out books from our library. You can request them from other libraries in the area, so it's as easy as that. But even if you don't live in the area, you can absolutely attend our programs. We don't restrict it to residents of Evergreen. We've had people come into our virtual programs from like New York and Pennsylvania. It's really cool.
Jenna Harte-Wisniewski from the Evergreen Park Public Library. Lots of stuff going on over there. I look forward to seeing you riding by, throwing books to the children on your psychedelic trike sometime this summer, Jenna.
I'll be sure to ring my bell. Ring, ring. Thanks so much, Chris.
It is now time for your EP podcast, Word on the Street, brought to you by Cool Clouds Vapor Shop, located right here in Evergreen Park. They would like to help you quit smoking. A lot of people go online in the past, try to find products. It's harder to do these days. They will take you through the process, and they have everything available to help you. Visit them today, 3837 95th Street, right here in the EP. Those of you in the Northeast Quadrant, Nicor will have NPL construction in the area, replacing all steel mains and steel services. That is going to be going on for about 120 days. We're talking 87th Street to 91st between Richmond and Rockwell. Any questions? 708-229-3360. The Evergreen Park Farmers Market is now open every Thursday, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. We visited them on the last episode. You can go back and check that out on demand. From what I understand, brand new Mayor Kelly Burke going to be out there in the next couple of weeks. I don't know exactly what date. I find that out. I'll let you know. I know we're going to be there on June the 10th. Come by between 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. The EP Podcast out there with the big tent giving away things, including that EP Podcast car magnet. You put it on the back of the vehicle. You might win some fabulous prizes this summer if we see you. I get to debut my brand new prize wheel as well. I bought it right before the pandemic. This is the first time I get to go out and be with the people, and I'm pumped. Mark the calendar, June 10th at the Farmers Market, 89th and Kedzie at Yukich Field. Remember, if you are looking for a vaccine, COVID-19 vaccine available at the Evergreen Park Pharmacy. That isn't the only place, but they have the Moderna over there, their location, the Mary Potter Pavilion, and you can sign up online. If you have an issue signing up online, give them a call, 708-423-4700. Finally, just want to let everybody know, next week on this program, the EP Podcast brings back to kick off the summer Eating Evergreen Park. An entire show, 30 minutes of food. Listen as we bounce around the EP and check out what's good to eat this summer. Eating Evergreen Park, that is the episode next week, right here on the EP Podcast. Found everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at theeppodcast.com. Building relationships, supporting the community, and service. These are the things that Country Financial stands for. They're more than just an office you may pass by as you drive through Evergreen Park. They're neighbors who lend a helping hand and support the fabric of your community, including charitable organizations, sports, financial education, and civic organizations. And since Country is already your neighbor, they want to get together and chat. Call your local Country Financial representative, Mike Thauer, today at 708-425-1559 to talk about the things that are important to you and how he can help you protect them. Hannah, we are enjoying the warm weather as spring is coming to a close and summer is around the corner, and we have Memorial Day weekend coming up and everybody's getting ready to go do things. Like, my parents are now out at their lake cottage getting the boat in the water and preparing for like family. You know, I mean, people are getting ready for their barbecues, and guys like John Brand have their rooftops ready to go, and we're sitting on the rooftop at Open Outcry here in the Beverly Morgan Park neighborhood on Western Avenue on 109th and Western. And John, first of all, I love what you've done with the place, even though I miss my cabin. Like, we had the EP podcast cabin up here in the winter, but man, I'm ready for summer, man. I'm ready for this deck.
Maybe we are going to be okay, huh, kid?
Yeah.
It feels good.
It does feel good. And you know, you have done so many different things out here on this patio, and I think you had mentioned that you have different improvements you're always looking for each and every year. Tell us, anybody who's never been up on your rooftop or hasn't been up here in a while, describe it for them, tell them why they should come out and sit at it.
So it's an open air elevated beer garden on the second floor of the building at 109th and Western, overlooking Western Avenue. Seats about 90 people. It's the same decors downstairs. We deconstructed a barn and used all those reclaimed materials to put together all the finer carpentry finishes up here. Same color scheme. Everything's in the gold and the black. And this is going to be our third summer, believe it or not. And it's just a very, very pleasant place to hang out, especially at night on a nice night.
Now you're starting off, it looks like, with tables, and you got I remember last year, you had like lounge chairs up at the front, like overlooking the street.
We did.
So you've reconfigured it a little bit.
We did. I just like the flow better.
I like it.
I like the flow. A couple reasons. Number one of the feedback we've gotten over the last couple of years is three things mainly. One, sun cover. Number two, sound. Number three, TVs. And then the efficiency of drink service. So we reconfigured the deck to make it more efficient just from a service perspective. We pushed a lot of the seating up towards Western Avenue to take advantage of the views. And then when you drive up and down Western Avenue and you see 50 people sitting up on the rooftop right from the street, whereas before some of the tables were pushed towards the back.
Right.
We think that's just create a nicer aesthetic, much more inviting. So all these folks will be sitting up here instead of towards the back. We doubled the number of cantilever umbrellas that we'll have over the table. So basically every table will have sun cover now. And we installed a Sonos sound system up here as well. The sound quality is tremendous.
Yeah?
And that'll, if you look around, all the speakers were installed last week. We got a subwoofer right there.
That's a subwoofer?
That's a subwoofer.
Look at how fancy that thing is.
Yeah, super fancy.
Yeah, I know. It looks like Star Wars up here.
R2-D2.
That thing's smooth up there. It's sleek.
But we demoed it earlier this week with the sound engineers, and it's just it's not loud, but this is one of those zone sound systems. So you have high resolution in the sound in the background, but you can still sit next to somebody at a table and have a conversation without raising your voice too much.
And what I like about up here is just your versatility. You made it work for the winter. You had all these cabins and cottages up here. They're all gone now. I assume you got the crane.
We got the crane, yes.
We were very worried about the crane. Last time on the show, you were nervous about the crane. I was nervous about the crane. You got the crane.
I'm still nervous about the crane because I know I got to do it again in the fall and every year. I have a friend that's in the trade business, and I was able to bribe him with beer to show up on Saturday morning at 6 a.m. with a crane, and we lifted all the cabins off the roof.
How long did that take?
I had a bunch of friends, Mug Club members actually, that like you were giving me shit. They're like, why is the rooftop not open yet? I'm like, well, I can't get a crane, and I can't get people to help me lift these things off the deck. And they said, well, we all showed up. These are Mug Club members. If we all showed up and helped you lift these off the roof, can you get the deck open next week? And I said, yeah. So they all showed up.
So the Mug Club was like, I'm sick of not being able to go up there, so I'm going to...
A bunch of Mug Club members showed up on Saturday morning.
They had a crane.
Yes.
Of all people, the Mug Club members.
The Mug Club members
had
showed
the
up.
crane.
A bunch of Mug Club members showed up, helped me lift the cabins off, and then we drank lemon lime speculator until deep into the evening.
Imagine, one day, out of nowhere, you need your car towed. Who are you going to call? You have no idea. Right, because none of us think about that until it actually happens. So I'm going to give you a name, Dreamers Towing and Recovery. Located in Evergreen Park, Illinois, they will tow your vehicle, locally or at a long distance, at a very affordable price. What happens when your car needs a jump start? Dreamers Towing and Recovery. What happens when you're locked out of your car? Dreamers Towing and Recovery. You got a junk car, you don't know how to get rid of it, and you just want to move along and get some cash? They buy your junk cars. Covering the EP and the surrounding south side of Chicago, Dreamers is there when you need them with 24-hour service. Call them 773-410-4549. 773-410-4549. Turn a sudden nightmare into a dream with Dreamers Towing and Recovery. How important is it for you when you're figuring out, you and Will, when you're talking about beers, especially for the summertime, right? I mean, you're sitting around, you've got your plans. All right, I've got this great place, Open Outcry, here on 109th and Western. I could open up the front doors and let the breeze in, and families come in here and they eat pizza, and I've got a great menu, and now I've got the rooftop, and I'm all set up with that, and I've done my sound, and I've got this great view up here at the treetop level here along Western Avenue, and all of those different factors. But then a lot of things have to come together, and one of those has to be the beer that you're serving. You have your staples,
that's right,
but you have to find something that's perfect for summertime. And so how far out do you start planning, like what your summertime menu is going to be beer-wise at Open Outcry?
The turnaround time from brew day to fermenter in beer is not that long. It's 2, 3, sometimes 4 weeks, right? So we can make beer menu decisions and execute on those and get them on draft relatively quickly. Now, how do we do that? To be honest with you, I'm not super religious.
Right, but you pray a lot?
Well, what I do is when I wake up in the morning,
right,
and I say my prayer,
right,
I say a prayer to St. Turner, our brewer. So we're very, listen.
Make those T-shirts.
St. Turner.
I would buy and wear that T-shirt.
How is there not a St. Turner beer?
I think your listeners have heard us talk about Will before. We're very fortunate. Will Turner, our brewer here, he's been doing this for almost 30 years. Okay.
Lived in Evergreen Park up until recently, or is he still there?
He still lives in Evergreen Park.
Still in Evergreen, yeah.
Still in Evergreen. Will Turner's been brewing for 30 years. He was one of the OG brewers at Goose Island. Before that, he brewed in California, and before that, he brewed in Europe.
And he was at Revolution.
And then he left Goose Island, and he was the original brewer at Revolution's Brew Pub. Right? This guy knows what he's doing.
And if you think about it, he goes from Goose, right? And Revolution gets started. Look where they went.
Yes.
And Will was the guy that kind of basically showed up and got that started. Like, do you sit around and think to yourself, like, I could be Revolution?
Hail Mary, full of will, the Lord is with thee. I mean, why do you think I hired the guy? Listen,
this guy's no slouch. Like, this guy makes breweries like famous is what he does.
When we started talking to Will, and it looked like perhaps he was interested in brewing down on the south side of Chicago. We were very, very, very happy. We're very fortunate to have a guy like that working here with his experience and his skills. He's just a great guy too. He's a great guy to have in the building as well. So I feel very fortunate that he's here. He's making great beer, and he's been brewing here now for just under 2 years, and it's been very clear that the south side in this community has responded to the products that he's putting on draft.
So let's talk about what the girls are drinking here. John Brand of Open Outcry. All right.
Slow down. You said it was a stronger IPA. I'm already halfway through.
Well, it's
a stronger pale.
It's a pale.
This is called the Hank Paulson.
Right.
The Hank Paulson. It's a strong, hazy pale ale. I think this is the third time that we've brewed this beer, and it's a pale ale. It's just knocking on the door of IPAs in terms of ABV, but it's not quite there according to the style guidelines. So we call it a strong pale, which is an official style category.
Right.
And it's hazy. And
I first found pale ales when I was in Northern California.
Probably Sierra Nevada, right?
Nevada.
The Sierra Nevada. It's the consummate pale ale,
But that was like when I was discovering craft beer living on the West Coast 20 years ago, and I walked into a place and they're like, try this.
The Sierra Nevada pale ale is maybe one of the most important beers in that's been brewed in this country in the last 30, 40, 50 years. It's one of the beers that launched the current craft movement that we're in. The founder of Sierra Nevada, his name is Ken Grossman, and he's a legend in the brewing industry because he's the guy that brought innovation and interesting beer back to this country. I think he started, you're going to have to fact check me on this, Hannah, but I think it's early 80s, I think, Sierra Nevada. He opened up Sierra Nevada. Actually. Early
Based
80s.
On the fact that I've been to their brewery a couple times and taken the tour.
It's a beautiful story, yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed, John. I've been to a lot of breweries and I've taken a lot of tours.
I was going to say, which tours have you not been on?
I noticed, Hannah, you must be Catholic because I noticed you just did a sign of the cross as the ambulance went by.
She does that.
I'm Southern Baptist.
Oh. That's what she is. She's Southern Baptist.
But there's a rosary in my purse,
right,
so go figure.
All right, that makes sense.
She carries multiple religions on her person. All right, so that person that just went by in the ambulance is totally covered.
So what makes that beer fun to drink, the Hank Paulson, it's a strong hazy pale. It's 5.9%. So it brings a lot of the full-bodied sweetness and notes that you would get out of IPAs, but a little less ABV. And then we'll brew that with Citra and Mosaic. So you're getting all those citrus and floral notes, not just in the taste, but in the nose too. It gives off a real nice aroma as well.
Easy to drink.
It's smooth. You know what? It's very, very smooth, and that's what I noticed when
It's a very we talked about how approachable hazy IPAs are for non-IPA drinkers in previous shows. That's a summer pale. That's even more approachable.
Yeah. That's like if let's say your lemon lime speculator's great. Your speculator's great, but let's say somebody's sitting there going, I want a little bit more of a bite. I want something like I want an ale. I want a pale ale. I want something that's close to an IPA, but it's summertime and I really don't want to get overheated out here. Drinking something that's too heavy. That's
a good intro. Yeah,
that's
for
exactly
sure.
what I would do.
Yep.
And it's got the haze, which is like all the rage right now. People love that.
Love the haze. That's the Hank Paulson.
All right. Before we let you go, what pizza are you binging on right now? John has said this multiple times on the show that with his pizzas in the wood fire oven, he will pick one and eat it for like a week to a week and a half straight, sometimes even longer. So what are you currently eating every day here at Open Outcry?
The Chi-Town with French fries.
Today it's Italian beef, the giardiniera, and French fries.
It's our house giardiniera.
Yeah.
It's speculator braised beef tallow fried French fries on our usual pizza dough that we make every day.
Yeah.
This pizza, by the way, is a little controversial.
Why is it controversial? How can a pizza be controversial?
Because this is Chicago,
right?
And we're talking about pizza,
right?
And everyone gets all worked up over this. Just yesterday, there was a repost by another media outlet here in the Chicagoland area that did a story on the Chi-Town.
On that pizza you're talking about, right?
Specific pizza, and the comments online were very, very polarizing.
They were hurtful.
They hurt a little bit, yeah. I had a hard time sleeping last night.
It bothered you?
100%.
Is it because of the fries? Is it because
it's the fries?
It's the fries.
It's the fries, yeah. Yeah, it's the fries.
I've never heard of a pizza with fries on it before.
Yeah, but have you eaten it?
No, but I want to.
It's delicious.
Well, you're going to eat it because we're getting one tonight, okay? I've had one here before. They're great. And now after he brought it up, I'm like, yeah, get me two. So, yeah, you're going to try one tonight, okay? It's going to be a beautiful summer out here at Open Outcry. John is always nice enough to come over to our place and bring beer. Today, he let us come to his place and still gave us beer.
He did, and the weather it's just beautiful out there.
It's beautiful tonight.
Perfect summer day.
It is.
This is where you want to be. You want to get here early, make sure you get a spot up here. It's perfect, and stay here all night.
Thank you, Hannah.
Open Outcry, 109th and Western. John Brand, thanks a lot, bud.
Thanks, guys.
Before we get out of here, I want to say once again congratulations to the Our American Voice Civics class at Central Middle School. Those 8th graders over there were on this show, I would say about a month or so ago, trying to figure out how do we help small business. Then they came up with a plan, and they released this entire thing in the month of May with special deals all around Evergreen Park to help out stores in Evergreen Park, to help out restaurants in Evergreen Park all month long. And for this last week of the promotion, 20% off a single purchase at Classmates. Peace of Mind organization, $5 off every $25 that is spent. They do your organization. And this week, Claudia Parker Portraits, $25 off portraits, and $50 off videos. Mention the OAV promotion. Great job by those kids helping out the community. This is the EP Podcast, and we will see you soon. Make sure you are subscribed. If you have not subscribed, hit the subscribe button and check out the brand new website, theeppodcast.com. Now more interactive, and it gives you a chance with the touch of a button from any device to leave us a message and be a part of the show. My name is Christopher Hanna. This is the EP Podcast, found everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at theeppodcast.com.
Another show is wrapped up. Another show's in the books. Another show is wrapped up. And then by the looks, it's gonna be a good one. And we'll see you next week. And the nudist basement. And the nudist basement. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. And it's in the books. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. And by the looks, it's gonna be a good one. Nudist basement. Broadcast basement. The nudist basement. The broad basement. Slancha.
The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at theeppodcast.com.